What role does informed consent play in a medical malpractice case? Hi, I'm Frank Spector, medical malpractice lawyer in Maryland for over 30 years. When you go in for surgery, you're going to be presented with a lot of documents to sign. And some of those can be on a clipboard, and some of those could be on a tablet. And buried within these documents is something called informed consent. So what is informed consent? Informed consent is a document in which you are advised of the risks, the benefits, and the alternatives to the surgery that's going to be done. This really should have been a conversation between you and your doctor before the surgery takes place, but that doesn't always happen. So in informed consent, you're told about the risks, and there's going to be a laundry list of all the risks that could happen during surgery. And then they're going to be told about the benefits, why the surgery is being done and what it's supposed to accomplish, and the alternatives. And one of the alternatives is to do nothing. So when you're presented with an informed consent, and it's usually right before surgery, take the time to read it and take the time to ask questions. Now, in an informed consent situation, if something goes wrong in the surgery, you can bet that the doctor and the hospital are going to pull out that informed consent and say to you, nope, you don't have a case because we told you about this. And you accepted all the risks of the surgery. And just because something went wrong, you don't have a basis to file a medical malpractice case. And that's not totally true. Informed consent does not mean that a doctor or hospital get a pass for committing medical malpractice. So let's give two examples. So for example, let's say that after a spinal surgery, you wake up and you are stiff and you don't have as much mobility as you did before. Does that mean that you have a medical malpractice case? Probably not, because that's part of the risk of having a surgery. However, the most common ones that I see is suppose that a doctor cuts an organ that they're not supposed to cut during surgery. Does that mean just because you signed an informed consent, you don't have a basis for a medical malpractice case? No. Informed consent is not a way for a doctor to use that to get out of medical malpractice. So here are two takeaways. Number one, read your informed consent document. Make sure that you understand it and make sure that you ask all the questions that you want. And number two, if you've had a bad outcome, I don't want you to think that just because you signed an informed consent, you have no basis for a medical malpractice case, because that may not be true. So my contact information is below. If you'd like to speak with me about any medical malpractice case, please give me a call and you'll speak with me personally.